What's up, YouTube? So you guys are probably getting bored of this sound by now, but trust me, this one is a little bit special. There's a couple of things here which you could use for more than just like the forest genre. So yeah, stay tuned and let's dive into how to make that forest sound, but with Arturia Pigments. So after doing the forest sound in Serum, I had quite a few questions asking me to do it in Pigments, but I was actually planning to do it because there's a couple of things here in Pigments which make it really special, and I'm going to do it in Hive 2 as well, because there's even more things that make it even more special there and more variations that you can use. But just I'm going to focus on Pigments for this video, and I may do a separate video with Hive 2 depending on how much I get done. So yeah, anyway, like within Serum, maybe it was just me, but I couldn't get these filters in Pigments to self-oscillate. But it's okay because the sine waves sound really good with these different types of modulation on them. And you have the ability to quantize the sine waves, or at least quantize the modulation going into the oscillators within Pigments. So I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen this, but this guy, Projecktor, he actually did a video which was inspired by the forest sound that I did in Serum, and you guys should definitely go check it out. He basically shows you how to get Ableton to randomly generate the elements for the modulation and how to do it in key, which is a pretty interesting idea. But the coolest thing about Pigments is you can do it within the synth itself. So you have the ability to send it kind of LFOs or any types of modulation and create these kind of sounds. You can quantize them or not, depending on how you want to do it. So yeah, let's dive in a little bit and play around with this synthesizer. First things first, what I want to do is let's just set this oscillator down -24, so we've got a nice low sine wave to work with. And the coolest thing about Pigments is not the quantization of the oscillator, funnily enough. It's the fact that you've got so many different types of randomness built in. And you can, you've got these 3 different ones and you can choose which ones are loaded where. So you could, for example, have 2 sample and holds, 2 Turing generators. And these are different. Turing and sample and hold are 2 very different types of random. So sample and hold is, based on the white noise style of random, like I showed you guys in the voltage modular tutorial. And Turing is based more in a digital style of random, as far as I know. I might be wrong. The interesting thing here is they've kind of posed the 2 together. The cool thing here is you've got the ability to rate sync both of them. So in Serum, you can't rate sync that kind of noise oscillator. So here you can do it. So let's set it to 1/16 to get that kind of like really random stuff going on. You can see here, this one is a little bit more repetitive. Sometimes it latches onto these kind of like blocks and it repeats those, and sometimes it doesn't. When you turn flip all the way down to the left-hand side, it kind of like latches that loop and keeps repeating it. So that's pretty cool for like generating these randoms and then, latching it and repeating it over and over again. Whereas the sample and hold is a completely random, like there's no way of controlling how this random is generated, but you've got control here of a kind of glide with the, like I've explained in the previous however many videos I've done on this sound. The cool thing here is you've got a difference in the rise and fall of the glide. So you can have it like snapping up and then slowly dragging down to the next sound, for example. So you can get very, very creative in how these random modulations are being generated. So here, let's set the random to modulate the coarse. Let's just do it like a little bit like 35 or so. And then let's set random 2 to also modulate the coarse. Also about the same, like 35 or so. So if we just turn this off temporarily. So this is the Turing generator. I'm actually going to turn this, well, I'm going to play it in a higher octave. And then this is the white noise. So it's like you've got control over these variables at which it randomizes these sounds and how it like plays out. So let's just jump back to the Turing. I want to show you guys a couple of interesting things here. So with this kind of repetitive thing that we've got going here, let's engage this quantize and let's hit this edit button over here. So here what we can do is we can choose what notes it's going to allow through to the modulation source or modulation destination, which is the pitch. So now it's only going to allow it to snap to C, D sharp, and G, respectively to how we transpose it with the note input of the keyboard. So then here, let's jump back to the Turing and then turn the flip up and allow it to generate some more randoms here. And then once we get a kind of cool melody looking thing, we can just engage it again. And then this is the length of that kind of loop. So that's a very, very cool way of instantly, jamming out. And then when you find this inspiration, snapping that flip down to 0, and you've kind of recorded in a melody. Let's actually just put some reverb on here. The stock reverb is ridiculously cool. So, of course, that's a little bit too repetitive and a little bit too unrandom for my liking for this, obviously, for this type of style that we're going for. So here what we can do is we can start introducing the sample and hold. So here, let's put on some high pass filter, just so it doesn't go like into the low range. And the Surgeon is really, really cool for kind of like clinical EQ cuts, where you don't want it to really sound like a filter. And here we can look at this binary random. So what this is it's just random ons and offs. So here, what I actually want to do is, let's go to the function generator here, and let's just choose the first one, just use it as an example. And let's set this gate source to random 3. And now let's create a sort of envelope kind of looking thing like this. And you'll notice it's triggering at a kind of erratic pace here. Let's set this function to modulate the volume over here. Okay, so let's jump back to our random controls here. And so what we're doing here is we've got a probability control. Oh, so what this is doing is it's actually in LFO mode, so it's looping. Let's turn this to envelope, so it goes once. And you'll notice when we turn the probability down, there's nothing. Let's turn this to 1 over 16 as well. So what we've done is we've created a kind of melodic sequence generator, you know, similar to the sounds that we created in the previous ones, but a lot more in key. And here, you know, much like in Projecktor's video, he outlined a way of using the velocity to randomly trigger whether those notes are being turned on or off. I think it was velocity or the key. I'll have to go back and check. But this is similar, except you've got control in a new spectrum now, you know, probability control, which is, again, completely random. You're not limited to, you know, what that sequence is being generated, for example. So it's infinitely random. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually put in MIDI note here. Oh, what am I doing? I'm going to play it along the track so we can actually just listen. So that's very cool. I really, really like that sound. But to me personally, I think it's a little bit melodic for this kind of style. So again, the power here, you've got the ability to just unquantize it. Cool. So that's in key and out of key. You know, you can choose depending what you want. And, you know, if you play with these rise and fall, you get these like cool sweeping motions in it. And this is actually very cool too. For example, like I was showing there, if you put it on a very slow motion and then still quantize it, you get these like arpeggio kind of sequences running up and down. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. A big thanks to IDM Mag, proud supporters of the dance music scene and my channel. I'm going to be posting this preset to my Patreon for all my $5 supporters. So if you want to know what that's all about, check out the link that's going to be in the description. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.